The last day came too quickly. Commander Thelvis stood in the morning light watching the colony wake up. People walked to work. Children went to school. Life continued as if the universe was not about to change forever. Dr. Miralon found him there. "I have made a decision," she said. "What decision?" "I want to undergo the process. I want to change." Thelvis turned to look at her. His oldest friend? His most trusted officer? You understand what that means? You will not be Vrelin anymore. Not completely. I will still be me. Just stronger. Better adapted. Able to help my people prepare for what is coming. She smiled. It was a sad smile. Someone has to be first, Commander. Someone has to show them it is possible. I cannot order this. It must be your choice. It is my choice. I spoke with Bora this morning. She says the process for Vrelins is ready. Tested, safe. Well, safer than dying when the darkness comes. A young man approached them. Jae-sung, one of the fifth-generation colonists. He was 22, tall and confident. He carried himself with easy grace. Administrator Sung-ho sent me to find you. There is something he wants you to see before you leave. They followed Jae-sung to the edge of the colony. A field lay beyond the buildings, empty except for rocks and strange plants. Jae-sung walked into the middle of the field. "Watch carefully," he said. He held out his hand. At first nothing happened. Then Thelvis saw it. The rocks were moving, slowly, rising into the air, floating. "Telekinesis?" whispered Miralon. "Not exactly. I am manipulating gravity fields. It is a fifth-generation ability. Some of us can do it. Others can sense emotions. Some can process quantum calculations in their heads. We are still discovering what we can do." The rocks settled back to the ground gently. Jae-sung looked at his hand as if surprised by his own ability. "My parents cannot do this. My grandparents definitely cannot. But my children probably will. Each generation is stronger, more adapted, more capable. That is what the precursor technology does. It does not just change you once. It keeps changing you. Forever." He led them back toward the colony. "Does that scare you?" "It scares some of the other species we have contacted. They think we will become gods or monsters, but we are just people trying to survive." Sung-ho waited for them at the colony center. With him stood old Sun-hee, leaning on her cane but standing proud. Jiwoo was there too, and Tai-min and many others Thelvis had come to know. "Commander, before you go, we want to show you one more thing." Sung-ho gestured toward the sky. "Look up." A ship appeared in the clouds, but not the Vrelin ship. This was something else, sleek and strange, made of materials that seemed to shift and flow. It landed silently in the courtyard. "That is a pan-human council vessel," said Sung-ho. Eunji brought it. "Technology derived from precursor designs but improved by human engineering. It can cross the galaxy in weeks instead of months. It can slip through space undetected. It represents what we can become when we combine precursor knowledge with our own innovation." The ship's door opened. Eunji emerged, followed by people of different species, not just humans. Thelvis saw a Korthan, a Nexian, others he did not recognize. All of them had changed, adapted. Their features were different, enhanced. "Representatives from species that have joined us," said Eunji. "They want to speak with you. To tell you their stories." The Korthan stepped forward. He was tall for his species, with golden fur and bright eyes. "I am Velthar. My people faced a plague 5 years ago, a disease that killed millions. Human scientists offered help. They used precursor technology to adapt us, make us immune. They saved my species. Now we help them prepare for the greater threat." The Nexian spoke next. She was small and graceful. "I am Tinara. My world was dying. The star expanding, growing hotter. We had 50 years before our planet became uninhabitable. The humans showed us how to adapt. Now my people can survive temperatures that would have killed us. We do not have to leave our home." One by one, they told their stories. Species saved, worlds preserved, problems solved through adaptation, through change, through choosing to become something more. Thelvis listened to all of them. When they finished, he spoke. "I understand what you're offering. But I must ask, what do you gain from this? Why help other species? What is your price?" Eunji answered. "We gain allies, friends, different perspectives and abilities. The darkness that killed the precursors will not be defeated by one species alone. We need diversity. We need everyone. As for our price?" She smiled. "Survival. We all survive together or we all die alone. That is the only price we ask. That you stand with us when the time comes. Telvas looked at Miralon. She nodded. He looked at his crew who had gathered to hear this final conversation. They looked back at him with trust, with hope, with fear. He made his decision. Dr. Miralon will undergo the adaptation process. So will Engineer Kolvas. They volunteer freely. They will return to Vrelin space as proof that the process works. As examples of what we can become. And you, Commander? Asked Sung-Ho. I must return as I am. To report. To convince my government. To prepare my people. He paused. But when I return, if my people agree, I will undergo the process myself. Sung-Ho smiled. It was a warm smile, genuine. That is all we ask. That you consider it. That you give your people the choice they spent the final hours preparing. Bora took Miralon and Engineer Kolvas to the medical facility. The process would take 5 days. The rest of the Vrelin crew would wait. Telva stood with Sung-Ho on a balcony overlooking the colony. The sun was setting. The sky turned colors that should have been beautiful but mostly reminded Telvas how alien this world was. Will we survive? Telvas asked quietly. When the darkness comes, will all this be enough? I do not know, said Sung-Ho honestly. The precursors were powerful beyond imagination and they failed. But they were alone. We are together. Humans, Vrelins, Korthans, Nexians, dozens of others. Maybe that will make the difference. Or maybe we will all die together instead of separately. Maybe. But at least we will die trying. At least we will die as friends. Young Su ran past them chasing a ball with other children. They laughed and shouted in multiple languages. Human, Vrelin, Korthan, learning each other's words, growing up together. That is what we are building, said Sung-Ho. Not just defenses against the darkness, but a galaxy where all species work together, where we share knowledge freely, where we help each other survive. The adaptation technology is just a tool. The real change is in how we see each other. Taemin appeared at the door. Commander, Dr. Miralon has entered the transformation chamber. She asked if you want to observe. Telvas followed him to the precursor facility, down the long elevator, through the black stone corridors, to the transformation chamber where humanity had been reborn. Miralon lay on the platform. Medical equipment surrounded her. Human doctors and machines worked together. Bora stood at the controls. She will sleep for 5 days, said Bora. When she wakes, she will be different. Still Vrelin. Still herself. But also more. Stronger. Ready to help her people face the future. The machines activated. Light enveloped Miralon. Telvas watched his friend begin to change. Begin to evolve. Begin to become what they all might need to become. Jiwoo stood beside him. You are afraid? Yes. Good. Fear means you understand what is happening. What we are asking. But fear alone will not save us. She pointed at the platform. That will. Courage will. The willingness to change when change is necessary. 5 days later, Dr. Miralon woke up. She opened her eyes and breathed. First the normal air of the medical facility. Then when they tested her, the toxic atmosphere outside. She breathed both easily. Naturally, she looked at her hands. Still blue. Still 3-fingered. But different, stronger. She could feel the difference in every cell. How do you feel? Asked Telvas. Strange, powerful, like I can sense things I could not before. The air, the energy, the life around me. She smiled. I am still me, Commander. Still Vrelin, but also something more now. The Vrelin ship prepared to depart. The crew loaded data, samples, proof of everything they had seen. Miralon and Kolvas would return as living evidence that change was possible. Sung-Ho, Jiwoo, and many others came to say goodbye. Even little Quan was there, waving enthusiastically. When you return, said Sung-Ho to Telvas, and you will return, we will be here, ready to help, ready to share everything we know, ready to stand with you against what is coming. Telvas gripped Sung-Ho's hand in the human gesture of friendship. We will return, and when we do, we will not come as strangers. We will come as allies. The ship rose into the sky. Below, the colony grew smaller. The impossible city where humans breathed poison and children moved rocks with their minds, where the future was being built, one adaptation at a time. Telvas looked at Miralon. She stood at the viewport watching the planet recede. She was proof, living proof that change was possible. That survival was worth the cost. What do we tell them? Asked one of the crew. What do we say when they ask what we found? Thelvis thought about everything he had seen, everything he had learned, everything that was coming. We tell them the truth, he said. We tell them that we discovered a human colony, and we faced what we could not understand. But now we do understand. Commander Thelvis did not sleep that night. He stood in the quarters the colonists had given him, looking out the window at the strange city below. Humans walked the streets, normal people doing normal things, but nothing was normal anymore. A knock on the door. Miralon entered without waiting for permission. She looked as tired as he felt. I have been analyzing the data from the archive sphere, she said, cross-referencing with our own historical records. The gaps match. Gaps? Every 20,000 years there are holes in our archaeological record. Periods where we have no artifacts, no ruins, no evidence of what came before. We always assumed it was natural decay, loss of information over time. But what if it was not natural? What if those gaps are where civilizations died? Thelvis sat down heavily. The precursors were not the only ones. We died too. We just do not remember. And we will die again, unless we change. Another knock. This time Sung Ho entered, followed by a woman Thelvis had not met before. She was in her late 30s with sharp eyes and confident bearing. Commander, this is Su Jin. She runs our communications network. Su Jin nodded a greeting. She carried a portable computer. Administrator Sung Ho said you are ready to know the full truth about what humanity has become. I thought I already knew. You know about this colony. You know about the precursor facility under our feet, but you do not know about the others. She opened her computer. A holographic star map appeared, floating in the air between them. This is human space. All the colonies we established over the last 500 years. Red dots appeared on the map. Dozens of them. Then hundreds. Then thousands. 217 colonies, said Su Jin. Every single one found a precursor facility. Every single one made the same choice we did. To adapt or die. Thelva stared at the map. The red dots formed a pattern. A net spreading across the galaxy. You did not just find this place by accident. No, said Sung Ho. Our ship's navigation did not fail. Not exactly. We were guided here by signals from the precursor facility. It called to us across space, and it called to all the other ships too. The Great Silence, said Miralon. 300 years ago, humanity withdrew from galactic society. Everyone thought you went extinct or isolated, but you were transforming. Yes, we realized what was happening, that the precursors wanted us to find their technology, wanted us to change. So we did. Deliberately. Every colony ship we sent out, we aimed at worlds with precursor facilities. We spread ourselves across the galaxy on purpose. Another man entered the room. He was younger, maybe 30, with an easy smile and relaxed manner. Sorry, I am late. Long flight, this is Hyunwoo, said Sung Ho. He runs our outreach division. Outreach to who? Asked Thelvis. You have been hiding for 300 years. Outreach to other species. Quietly. Carefully. We have been making contact with dozens of civilizations. Small groups, scientists, forward thinkers. People who can understand what is coming. Hyunwoo sat down and pulled out his own computer. More holograms appeared. Faces of different species. Documents, treaties written in multiple languages. 47 species so far. We have shown them the precursor warnings. Offered them the technology. Some accepted. Some refused. Some are still deciding, Thelvis felt cold. You are recruiting. Building an army. Not an army. An alliance. A network of species that will survive what is coming. Hyunwoo's smile faded. Commander, the darkness that killed the precursors is real. It is coming. We have 500 years to prepare the entire galaxy. That is not much time. Show me proof, said Thelvis. Not precursor warnings. Not ancient holograms. Real proof that this threat exists. Sujin typed on her computer. The star map changed. Now it showed the edge of the galaxy. Deep space. Empty regions between stars. Our long-range sensors have detected anomalies. Energy signatures that do not match anything natural. They are moving toward the galaxy, slowly. Very slowly, but steadily. Red indicators appeared on the map. Moving. Coming closer. We estimate first contact with the outer rim in 480 years. The wave will reach Vrellan space in 520 years. Human space in 540 years. Unless we stop it. How do you stop something that killed the precursors? asked Miralon. Another woman entered. She was older, maybe 50, with gray streaking her black hair. She moved with authority, by being better than the precursors were. I am Yunji. I represent the Pan-Human Council. Everyone in the room stood. Even Sung-ho. Thelvis understood. This woman was important. Sit, please. We are all friends here. Yunji took a chair. The precursors failed because they were one species. Brilliant but alone. They changed themselves, made themselves stronger. But it was not enough. We will succeed because we are many. Humans, Vrellans, dozens of other species working together. Each bringing different strengths, different perspectives, different adaptations. You want us to use the technology, said Thelvis, to change ourselves like you did. I want to offer you the choice, the same choice we made. Transform and survive or stay as you are and risk extinction. That is not a choice. That is a threat. No, Commander. A threat would be us forcing the change on you, or keeping the technology secret and letting you die. We are offering you the information, the tools, the help. What you do with them is your decision. A younger woman appeared at the door. She wore a medical uniform. Yunji, Bora says the demonstration is ready. They walked through the colony to a different building. Inside was a medical facility more advanced than anything Thelvis had seen. A woman in a lab coat greeted them. She was about 40 with tired eyes and steady hands. I am Bora. I study genetics. Specifically, how to adapt the precursor technology for different species. She led them to a window. Behind it, in a sealed room, a small creature sat on a table. It looked like a Corthan rodent. Common pets in several systems. This animal breathes oxygen. Standard atmosphere. Watch. Bora pressed a button. The air in the sealed room changed. Became thick with methane, toxic. The rodent should have died immediately. Instead, it kept breathing. Kept moving normally. I modified it this morning. 3 hours ago, it would have died in that atmosphere. Now it thrives in it. The process works. And it works on any DNA-based life form. She pressed another button. The air changed again. Now it was mostly carbon dioxide. The rodent adjusted. Kept living. I can adapt Vrellans, Corthans, Nexians, any species that wants to survive. The process is painful. It takes time, but it works. Thelvis watched the small creature. It looked happy, healthy, completely unaware that it had been fundamentally changed. How long does the process take for a person? For a Vrellan? About 5 days. The death rate is 0.7%. Much safer than what we first developed. And the changes are permanent. They breed true. Your children will be born adapted. Yunji stood beside Thelvis. This is what we offer the galaxy. Not conquest. Not domination. Just the choice to survive, to be ready when the darkness comes. We cannot force anyone. But we can give them the option. Thelvis looked at his own hands. 3 fingers, blue skin. He had been Vrellan his entire life. His ancestors had been Vrellan for 20,000 years. Could he stop being what he was? Could his people? If we refuse? He asked quietly. Then you refuse. We will defend you anyway when the time comes. We will fight for every species, whether they change or not. But we cannot promise you will survive. The precursors were advanced beyond imagination. They still died. And if we accept, then you join us. You become part of the Alliance. You help prepare the galaxy. And when the darkness comes, you face it as something stronger than you are now. Something that can endure. Thelvis turned to look at all of them. These changed humans with their impossible biology and terrible knowledge. They were offering hope. Or damnation. He was not sure which. I need time to think. Of course, said Yunji. This is the most important decision your species will ever make. Take all the time you need. 3 days had passed since the Vrellan ship arrived. Dr. Miralon had not slept properly during any of them. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw things that made no sense. Humans breathing poison, children playing in deadly radiation, biology that broke every rule she had learned. She sat now in the colony's medical center with a young human woman named Hye-jin. The woman wore a white coat and smiled often. She was a doctor like Miralon, but what she could do made Miralon question everything. Watch carefully, said Hye-jin. She held up 2 clear containers. One had normal air inside. The other contained atmosphere from outside. The toxic mixture that should kill any breathing creature. Hye-jin took a breath from the first container. Normal. Then she breathed from the second. Nothing happened. She did not choke. She did not fall. She simply breathed. How? Miralon whispered. Heejin put down the containers. Our lungs are different now. They have multiple filtration systems. We can extract oxygen from compounds that would poison you. Our blood carries modified hemoglobin. Our cells have backup systems for energy production. But these changes would take millions of years to evolve naturally. Yes, we did not wait for nature. We changed ourselves in 1 generation. Miralon touched her scanning device to Hyojin's arm. The readings appeared on her screen. Everything was wrong and right at the same time. Heejin was human. Genetically, clearly human. But there were additions, modifications, new structures in her DNA that should not exist. Your children, said Miralon. Are they born this way? Yes, the changes breed true. My daughter is 6 years old. She has never needed an environmental suit. She was born adapted. Commander Thelvas entered the medical center. With him came Sung-Ho and another human, an older man with weathered skin and kind eyes. Doctor, you need to see the agricultural section, said Thelvas. His voice carried a strange tone. Shock, perhaps, or fear. They walked through the colony. People nodded and smiled as they passed. A teenage boy ran up to them. He had bright eyes and wore a school uniform. Hello? My name is Young-Soo. Are you the visitors from the Vrellan Empire? We learned about your species in school. Did you know your ships use quantum tunnel drives? We studied those last month. Thelva stopped walking. You study our technology in school? We study everyone's technology. Vrellan, Korthan, Nexian, Trill. 43 different species. Teacher says we should know our neighbors even if they do not know about us yet. Yet? Repeated Miralon. Young-Soo grinned. We will meet them someday. When the time is right. May I show you something cool? Before anyone could answer, Young-Soo pressed his hand against a wall panel. The panel glowed. Lights in the hallway changed colors, cycling through the spectrum. He did not press any buttons. His hand just rested there. I can talk to the computers, said Young-Soo. Well, not talk exactly. More like think at them. It is a 6th generation thing. My parents cannot do it, but all my friends can. He ran off, waving goodbye. The adults stood in silence. 6th generation? Asked Miralon. The children born here, explained Sung-Ho. They develop abilities we did not program. The modifications are still evolving, getting stronger. Better. We do not fully understand it ourselves. The agricultural dome was enormous. Inside, plants grew in sections divided by different environmental zones. In one area, Miralon saw tomatoes growing in normal conditions. In the next section, wheat grew in air so thick with carbon dioxide that she could see it as a faint haze. In a third section, strange root vegetables thrived under radiation lamps that glowed bright purple. A man worked among the plants. He was older, maybe 60, with strong arms and dirt under his fingernails. He looked up and smiled. Ah, the visitors. Welcome. I am Daejong. I grow things, and this is impossible, said Miralon, staring at the plants. These conditions are too different. Nothing should grow in all of these environments. We modified the seeds, the same way we modified ourselves. Now they adapt. They grow stronger with each generation. This wheat here? He touched a tall stalk growing in the poison air. Its grandparent plant would have died in seconds. But we changed it, helped it. Now look how beautiful it is. You are changing everything, said Thelvas. Your bodies, your food, your children. Where does it end? Daejong picked up a tomato from a nearby plant. He handed it to Thelvas. It ends when we are safe. When we can survive anything this universe throws at us. Here, taste it. It is safe for Vrellans. I checked. Thelvas bit into the tomato. It tasted normal. Perfect. He looked at the fruit in his hand and felt something like fear. That evening, the Vrellans attended a gathering in the colony's main hall. Hundreds of humans came. They brought food and music. Children performed a dance from ancient Korea, their movements precise and beautiful. Old people sat and talked, sharing stories. Sung-Ho stood and raised his hand for silence. The hall grew quiet. Friends, we have guests from the stars. They ask us who we are, what we have become. I think it is time to tell them the whole story. An old woman stood up. She moved slowly, helped by a younger woman who might have been her granddaughter. She was very old, perhaps 100 years. Her face was lined with age, but her eyes were sharp. My name is Sun-Hee. I was born on Earth. I remember the sky there, so blue and clean. I remember leaving, thinking we would build a new Earth somewhere else. but we crashed here instead. She sat down on a chair that someone brought for her. The first winter killed my husband. The cold came through the habitat walls. Our heaters failed. Our food ran low. I held my children and wondered if we would see spring. 400 people died that winter, 400 friends, 400 dreamers who wanted a better life. The hall was completely silent now. Then Jiwoo's grandmother found the ruins, deep under the ice. Old machines, strange devices, technology from a dead civilization. She said it could save us, change us, make us strong enough to survive. But it would change us forever. We would not be the same. Soon he looked at the Vrellans with eyes that had seen too much. We voted. Every adult in the colony. 1,200 people trying to decide if they should stop being human. The vote was close. Some people said no. We should die as humans rather than live as something else. But most of us, we chose life. We chose change. We chose our children's future. She stood up again, shaking off the helping hand. Look at me. I'm 102 years old. On Earth, I would be dead 30 years ago. Here I breathe poison air and walk in deadly radiation, and I am healthy. My great-grandchildren play outside without fear. We made the right choice. Even if it was the hardest choice any human ever made. Miralon felt tears on her face. She did not remember starting to cry. Commander Thelva stood. Tomorrow we see the ruins. We see this technology that changed you. Yes, said Sung Ho. Tomorrow we show you everything. The machines, the process, the truth of what we have become. And then, Commander, you will have to make a choice of your own. The elevator went down for a very long time. Commander Thelvis watched the numbers on the display. 100 meters. 200. 500. 1,000. Still going down. Beside him stood Sung Ho, Jiwoo, and Taemin. Dr. Miralon held her instruments close, checking and rechecking the readings. The rest of the Vrellan team waited at the surface. This first journey into the ruins was for senior personnel only. How deep does this go? Asked Thelvis. The facility extends 3 kilometers down, said Jiwoo. We have only explored about half of it. Some sections are still sealed. Some we are afraid to open. Afraid? The technology here is powerful. Dangerous if misused. We are very careful. The elevator stopped. The doors opened onto a corridor carved from black stone. Lights came on automatically, glowing with a soft blue radiance. The walls were smooth, covered in symbols that looked like writing but in no language Thelvis had ever seen. The precursors, said Sung Ho. We call them that because they came before everyone else. Before Vrellans, before humans. Perhaps before the galaxy was young. They left no bodies, no art, no records we can read. Only this place and others like it. They walked down the corridor. The air felt strange, old. Miralon's instruments beeped constantly. I am detecting active power systems, quantum processors, biological sensors. Commander, this facility is still operational. After how many thousands of years? Asked Thelvis. We think at least 50,000. Maybe more. They entered a large chamber. In the center stood a circular platform, surrounded by tall machines that hummed with barely audible sound. Holographic displays floated in the air, showing diagrams and data in the precursor language. This is where we changed, said Jiwoo softly. The transformation chamber. She walked to a control panel and touched it. The holograms shifted. Now they showed humans. The images played like old recordings. Thelvis watched people step onto the platform. They looked scared, desperate. They held hands. Some were crying. The machines activated. Light enveloped them. When the light faded, they collapsed. Others rushed forward to help them. The first volunteers, said Sung Ho. 50 brave people who did not know if they would survive. They lay unconscious for 3 days. When they woke up, they were different. Changed. Able to breathe the air outside. Able to survive. How does it work? Asked Miralon. She approached the platform carefully, scanning it with her instruments. Jiwoo touched another control. The holograms changed to show molecular structures. DNA strands breaking apart and reforming. Cells dividing and adapting. The precursor technology reads your genetic code. It understands what you are. Then it asks a question. What do you need to survive? It analyzes your environment. The air, the water, the radiation, the temperature, everything, and then it changes you. It adds new genes, modifies existing ones, rebuilds your body from the inside out. That should kill you, said Miralon. Changing that much, that fast. The first 50 had a 30% death rate. 15 people died. We learned from that, made the process safer. Now the death rate is less than 1%. Thelvis turned away from the platform. He did not like looking at it. You said there are other facilities like this. Where? Tayman stepped forward. He had been quiet until now. We should show him the archive room. They walked through more corridors. The facility was massive. Room after room filled with machines that still worked. Stations that glowed with ready lights. Waiting. Always waiting. The archive room was different. Instead of machines, it held a single large sphere in the center. The sphere was dark gray, covered in precursor symbols. This is how we learned about the others, said Sung-Ho. Touch it. It will show you. Thelvis hesitated. Miralon touched his arm. I will do it first. She walked to the sphere and placed her hand on its surface. The sphere glowed. Light flowed up Miralon's arm. She gasped but did not pull away. Images appeared in the air around her. Star systems, planets, more facilities like this one scattered across the galaxy. Hundreds of them, thousands. They are everywhere, whispered Miralon. The precursors put them on habitable worlds all across known space. Thelvis saw something else in the images. Civilizations rising and falling. Species appearing and vanishing. A pattern repeated over and over across millions of years. Then he saw it. A darkness between the stars. Something vast and terrible moving through the galaxy. Where it passed, civilizations died. Worlds went silent. The darkness was not a species or a force. It was something else. Something the images could not fully show. What is that? He asked. Sung-Ho's face was grim. The reason the precursors left these facilities. The reason they changed themselves and still died anyway. It comes every 50,000 years. Like a cycle. Like a harvest. It destroys every advanced civilization it finds. The precursors tried to stop it. They failed. When does it come again? We have about 500 years. Maybe less. The sphere's light faded. Miralon pulled her hand back. She was shaking. Thelvis caught her as she stumbled. You knew this, he said to Sung-Ho. You knew about this threat and you said nothing. You let us discover you by accident. We are not ready yet. We wanted to be stronger before we revealed ourselves. Before we warned the galaxy. Sung-Ho looked tired. Old. How do you tell civilizations that everything they know will end? That death is coming and there is only one way to survive? By changing. By using this technology? Yes. By becoming something different. Something adapted. Something that can survive what killed the precursors. A young woman entered the archive room. She looked nervous. Administrator Sung-Ho, there is someone here who wants to speak with the Vrellans. Who? Minseo. She says she has found something in the historical records. Something about the Vrellan Empire. They followed Minseo to another room filled with human computers and displays. She was in her 40s, wearing glasses and practical clothes. She typed rapidly on a keyboard. I have been studying your ship's signature. Your language patterns, cross-referencing with precursor data. She pulled up an image on the largest screen. The precursors left warnings. Names of species they encountered. The Vrellans are listed. That is impossible, said Thelvis. Our civilization is only 20,000 years old. The precursors died 50,000 years ago. No. The Vrellan Empire is 20,000 years old. But your species is older. Much older. You have been through this cycle before. You survived. Then you forgot. Your historical records only go back 20,000 years because that is when your last civilization collapsed and you had to start over. The room was very quiet. You are saying the darkness already killed us once? Asked Thelvis. Yes, and it will kill you again unless you prepare. Thelvis looked at Miralon. She looked back at him. Both of them understood what was happening. This was not a simple first contact. This was a warning, a test, a choice. A small child entered the room. She was maybe 7 years old with bright eyes and a curious expression. She walked straight to Thelvis. Hello, my name is Quan. You are scared. I can feel it. Do not be scared. We will help you. Quan, you should not be here, said Minseo gently, but I can show them. Watch. The child touched a computer panel. Nothing happened. But Thelvis saw data flowing across screens without anyone typing. Information appearing and rearranging itself. The computers were responding to the child's thoughts. 6th generation, whispered Miralon. Quan smiled. We are different, stronger. We can do things our parents cannot. And our children will be even stronger. That is how we will survive. We will keep changing. Keep adapting forever. She ran off laughing. The adults watched her go. Sung-ho spoke quietly. That is the truth under everything. We are not just changing ourselves. We are beginning an evolution that will never stop. We are becoming something the galaxy has never seen before, something that can face the darkness and win. The stars looked cold through the viewport of the Vrellan ship. Commander Thelvis stood with his arms crossed, watching the planet grow larger on the screen. Kepler 442d was supposed to be dead. The record said so. Nobody lived there. Nobody could live there. But the sensors told a different story. Dr. Miralon walked up beside him. Her blue skin glowed faintly in the dim light of the bridge. She held a datapad in her three-fingered hands. Commander, I have checked the readings 5 times. There is a city down there, power grids, life signs, approximately 50,000 inhabitants. Thelvis did not look at her. He kept his eyes on the planet. What species? Unknown. The biosignatures do not match anything in our database. Pirates? Refugees? No, the settlement is too organized, too advanced, and there is something else. Miralon touched her datapad. They have orbital platforms, defense systems, all inactive but present. Thelvis finally turned to her. Why would someone build a colony here? This sector was marked uninhabitable 400 years ago. The atmosphere is toxic. The radiation levels are dangerous. I do not know, Commander, but we are being scanned. An alarm beeped softly. The communications officer looked up from his station. Sir, incoming transmission. Audio and video. They are speaking Galactic Standard. Thelvis straightened. Put it through. The main screen changed. A face appeared. It was a human face. Thelvis recognized the species immediately, though he had never seen one in person. Humans were supposed to be extinct, or hiding. Nobody had seen them for 300 years. The human was male, middle-aged, with dark hair turning gray at the sides. He wore simple clothes and smiled calmly. This is Colony Administrator Sung-ho of New Seoul. We have been expecting visitors eventually. You have permission to land. I am sending coordinates now. The transmission ended. The bridge was silent. Thelvis looked at his crew. They all stared at the screen where the human's face had been. Humans, whispered Miralon. But how? Why here? Thelvis made a decision. Prepare a landing team. Full environmental suits. Standard first contact protocols. And keep the weapons charged but not armed. The shuttle descended through clouds that were thick and gray. Miralon checked her instruments constantly. Commander, these readings cannot be correct. What is wrong? The atmosphere. It contains high levels of methane, carbon dioxide, sulfur compounds. Nothing should be able to breathe this without filtration systems. Through the shuttle window they saw the colony. Buildings made of metal and stone. Gardens with green plants. People walking in the streets. Children playing near a fountain. None of them wore environmental suits. That is impossible, said Thelvis quietly. They landed in a courtyard. The shuttle door opened with a hiss. Thelvis checked his suit seals one more time before stepping out. Sung-ho was waiting. He stood alone, hands clasped behind his back. He still smiled. Behind him, other humans watched from a distance. Curious but not afraid. Welcome to New Seoul, Commander. Sung-ho bowed slightly. I apologize that we cannot greet you properly. Our atmosphere would be uncomfortable for you. Thelvis spoke through his suit's external speaker. You are human. We thought your species was gone from this part of space. We are. And we are not. It is complicated. Please come inside. We have prepared a meeting room with an atmosphere more suitable for Vrellans. They walked through the colony. Thelvis tried not to stare, but everything was wrong. A woman worked in a garden, breathing the toxic air as if it were normal. A man repaired a solar panel on a roof. No protective gear at all. Children laughed and ran past them, their skin exposed to radiation that should have killed them in hours. The meeting room was in a large building at the center of the colony. Inside, the air was different, cleaner. Thelvis checked his instruments and carefully removed his helmet. The air was breathable, barely. Sung-ho gestured to chairs around a low table. On the table sat a pot of tea and several cups. Please sit. This is a traditional drink from Earth. We still maintain some of our old customs. Thelvis sat. His team arranged themselves around him. Miralon kept scanning everything with her instruments. You have questions, said Sung-ho. That is natural. Let me start with the simple facts. This colony was founded 287 years ago. We came from Earth on a ship called the New Dawn. We were supposed to go to Proxima Centauri. Our navigation systems failed. We ended up here instead. And you survived, said Thelvis. In an environment that should have killed you, yes. How? Sung-Ho poured tea into the cups. His movements were calm and precise. We adapted. That is what humans do best, Commander. We change. We survive. Biological adaptation does not work that fast, said Miralon. She leaned forward, her instruments beeping. It takes thousands of generations. Millions of years. Usually, yes. Sung-Ho sipped his tea. We found a way to make it faster. The door opened. A woman entered. She was younger than Sung-Ho, with short black hair and intelligent eyes. She wore a work uniform with tools hanging from a belt. This is Jiwoo, our chief engineer, said Sung-Ho. She can explain the technical details better than I can. Jiwoo sat down. She did not pour tea. Commander Thelvis. Dr. Miralon, you are wondering how we breathe the air outside, how we survive the radiation, how our children grow up healthy in an environment that would kill most species. Yes, said Miralon. We modified ourselves, our genetics, our cellular structure. Our respiratory systems can process multiple atmospheric compositions. Our cells regenerate damage from radiation. We are still human, but we are also something more. Thelvis felt something cold move through his body. That is illegal in most civilized systems. Genetic modification beyond certain limits is forbidden. We were not in a civilized system, said Jiwoo simply. We were dying, all of us. The first winter here killed 400 people. We had two choices. Die slowly in our habitat domes or take a chance on something dangerous. What did you do? Asked Miralon quietly. Sung-Ho and Jiwoo looked at each other. Something passed between them. An understanding. A memory. We found something under the colony, said Sung-Ho. Ruins, very old, left by a civilization that died long before humans ever left Earth. They left behind technology. Biotechnology. We used it. The room was silent. Outside, through the windows, humans walked past. Normal people doing normal things. Except nothing about them was normal anymore. Thelvis stood up. I need to see these ruins. I need to understand what you have done. Of course, said Sung-Ho. But first finish your tea. And prepare yourself, Commander. Some truths are difficult for outsiders to accept. What we have become, what we are becoming, it changes everything you think you know about evolution, about humanity, about what is possible. Another human appeared at the door. He was older, with gray hair and scars on his hands. Sir, the council wants to know if we should show them everything. Sung-Ho nodded slowly. Yes, Taemin, everything. They came here seeking answers. We will give them the truth. All of it. Thelvis looked at his team. They looked back at him with uncertainty in their eyes. He made a decision that would change the future of the Vrellan Empire. Show us, he said.